Okay guys, today we are doing the Riftbound investment guide. Now, this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. Luckily, now that all the cards are out and that China has been a huge success with Riftbound, we've got some actual prices which we can base some of this off. So it's not kind of just pulling out of the air what I think is going to be good, what you should buy, stuff like that. We've got some evidence to help back up some of these claims, okay? Now, before we start, I have to say this could be wrong, okay? No one knows what's going to happen. Anything can happen. Cards could change. Metas can change so easily. So be careful if you're going to follow this advice. Only invest if you can afford to, obviously. Pretty standard stuff. So let's move on to the first card, shall we? Mystic Reversal. Now, this is a card which gets like no play at the minute. It's kind of a bit of a weak card in the meta. It's very expensive, 3 power cost. You are setting yourself back so much with this. However, I'm predicting eventually there will be a meta where there is a spell that is dominant. Kind of like how at the minute we've got Aurora, which is a gear, which is very, very dominant in the meta. I can easily see a spell doing something similar to Aurora that is so strong that people will build to counter it. Mystic Reversal being an amazing card which would counter it. Obviously, because you would get control of the card. Now, at the minute, I was a bit surprised by this, but at the minute in China, it's worth 6 yuan. That's how much it's selling for, which is equivalent to 84 cents in US dollars. Now, I was expecting this to be a little bit lower, but this has kind of surprised me. So, because of that, I'm just saying for now, if you pack it, hold on to it. You never know what's going to happen. Definitely want to keep. It's not going to be worth much anyway, so there's no point selling it. But I wouldn't recommend buying it for the investment at the time being. Number 9, we've got Mage Seeker Warden. Now, you're probably looking at this thinking, why have I put this on here? This is a card with such a specific ability, such a specific text, that I feel like there is something coming which will make this useful. Because why else would they put this in the game, right? It's so specific to a specific playstyle that I think it's just going to be good eventually. It has to be, right? Now, at the minute in China, this is going for 0.31, which is worth 4 cents. So it's like nothing, basically, right? So I feel with this one, because it's so cheap and because it's got such a specific text, I wouldn't say invest in it, actively seek and buy it, but I would say if you do pack it, you should definitely hold on to it as well. Maybe if people are like throwing them away, just try and grab one, that kind of thing. But I could see this potentially being a decent card. Okay, who knows? Who knows? It could be a bit of a Mickey Mouse card as well, right? Where it's perfect case scenario, this would be useful, but it's very unlikely for that perfect case scenario to ever occur. Who knows? We'll see what the meta has in store. Following Mage Seeker, we have, personally, I really like this card, Kane Unleashed, right? I think he's got such a cool ability, and I've always tried to make this work throughout pre-launch within purple decks. However, I think the big thing holding it back right now is that purple is such a weak color, which I think is going to only improve as time goes on. I think purple is a set that just needs a bit more support right now, and it doesn't really have a place in the meta the way it works. It's kind of all about controlling the battlefields, moving around a lot, stuff like that. But unfortunately, it's just not getting much play at the moment. Now, with the Kane Legend potentially coming out at some point in the future, we have to predict it will come out, obviously, because it's a legend in League of Legends, and they're probably going to have their own card at some point. So I think once that legend does come out, it will probably boost the price of Kane. Potentially. Who knows? There are currently cards with legends that are worth 4 cents, so it could be the same as that, but we don't know. If purple is good and Kane does become good, the legend will probably boost the price of Kane. So at the minute, it's worth 4 cents, 0.31. Again, potentially going to go up very, very cheap. I would suggest hold on to it if you pack it again, but if you do enjoy playing purple, it might be worth getting a playset of Kane, just because it's a fun card. It's probably pretty good in 4v4s as well. I personally haven't played much 4-person Riftbound, but if you have, let me know in the comments how useful this is. I can imagine it being really, really good, just bouncing between battlefields, having 3 different battlefield options. Purple has a lot of movement, so that would make it pretty good. I don't know how popular 4-person play will be in Riftbound, but only time will tell. We'll have to see. Perhaps at a local level it will be pretty popular. We don't know. Following that is Time Warp. Now, you might be a bit shocked to see Time Warp on this, because Time Warp already does get used a lot. A lot of Kaiser decks now are running it in the sideboard. Even some of them are running it in the main deck, because it is a great card to just squeeze out those final points to get you over the line and win those games. Now, I do think, though, it is potentially underused right now. It's not really the heart of a deck. It's kind of just like a tool within other decks, which can come in use sometimes, right? So I think this is kind of the spell I was talking about with Mystic Reversal, right? This is the kind of spell which I would see dominating a meta, kind of like Aurora, okay? But in a spell variant. I mean, taking an extra turn is just insane. You could squeeze out 4 points just in one turn from using this card, right? So I could see it eventually becoming a staple of a deck as long as it gets more support. People have tried it right now. There are a lot of early Ari decks which try to use it. Victor as well tried to use it quite a bit. None of them really found any success. But I think time will help this card out, and I think it will become a good card. Now, it is already quite expensive. In China, it's 68.5 yuan, which is $9.62. So I would not suggest going out of your way to invest into this, because it is quite expensive. It's probably the most risky investment on this list because of the high price already. It could drop in price very, very easily. So I would say if you pack it, hold on to it. That's great. It's also great to have a play set of these. So maybe if you pack 1 or 2, just buy that second or third one just to finish off your play set. But yeah, I wouldn't go out your way to invest in it, but potential to become an even better card in the meta. Following that, we've got Mega Mech. Now, Mega Mech is such an underrated card at the minute, considering he is one of the only above rate cards in the game that I know of. Now, he obviously doesn't have an ability, which is fine, but he doesn't have a power cost, and he has 7 energy and 8 might, which is pretty good. He's great to play on curve. He is already being used as well currently. I've seen it in Kaiser decks, I've seen it in Ari decks. He's a nice unit just to have, especially if you're going second. You could get him out turn 3 really easily, right? So he's a great card. On top of that, we already know that Rumble is coming out in set 2. Now, we have no idea what Rumble's going to do, but all I know about Rumble is he's a mech, right? So there's a chance that he has something to do with the mech tag on the card, right? And obviously Mega Mech has the mech tag. So if there's any card, even if Rumble doesn't have anything to do with that, there's likely going to be cards within the set that is related to Rumble that will benefit mech cards. Currently, we only have 1 card in the game, I believe, which is that dragon card, which makes dragons 2 energy cheaper. I can't remember the name, but there's potential for more cards like that to come out. It's like in any other TCG, you have cards like that which benefit from tags, which make use of those tags on the cards. So I think we could see a mech tag being a big thing, especially in Rumble, but we don't know, so we'll have to wait and see, right? So for this, hold if you pack it, and also very good to have a playset of these. Like I said, it's already being used, so it's nice to have the option to put it into your deck if needed. Following that, we got Raging Firebrand. Now, originally I had this a little bit higher, but I kind of questioned myself purely because I think it would be limited, right? So I think this does have room in the meta, and I think it could be a really good card because it makes spells 5 energy cheaper, which could be an amazing combo card because you're getting a 4 might body on the board as well as playing a spell for 5 cheaper, right? So it's a nice combo. It's making things cheaper. You get body and a spell. Really good together. At the minute in China is worth 0.3 yuan, which is 4 cents. So again, cheapest chips. But like I said, potentially limited. It would only really be used in spell decks like a Kaiser or an Annie, I think. I don't think you'd see play in like a Darius or a Jinx because they're more unit focused, whereas Annie and Kaiser are spell focused. So potentially the price wouldn't go up too much purely because of that. But if it does become a staple in the meta, it will obviously go up in price because it's a good card. So hold if you pack it, and it's also good to have a playset because I do think there is a good chance it will become viable in the meta. Following that, we got Baited Hook. Now, Baited Hook is already an amazing card. We've seen Darius Hook do really well. I personally think Darius Hook is one of the best decks in the game. I think I put him 4th in my meta tier list after the Chinese regionals. He's very underrated in China, but he's very rated outside of China. A lot of tournaments outside of China have seen him do really well. So I think he is a really good card, obviously, right? And China is already I don't want to say high priced. It's above like the average price, I'd say. A lot of these cards in China are going for 4 US cents, which is very, very low. So in comparison, $2.81 is quite a lot, right? So the reason I think this is going to be good to invest in is purely because at the minute you only see it in Darius. People have tried in Set, people have tried in Victor, but it hasn't been too good. But I think those colors are kind of lacking units at the minute, which go really well with Bait Hook. Darius has the yellow-red colors, and those red cards, a lot of them make really, really good use of Hook, such as Draven. He's 3 might. You can get him out by sacrificing a 2 might unit, and he scales over time as you gain more and more points, becoming an even better unit than just a 3 might unit, right? Same with like Vayne, for example. She's 2 might. You sacrifice a token, you get her out. When she attacks, she's a 5 might unit. You're getting a lot of value for these small units that you're sacrificing. Looking at other colors that are comboed with yellow at the minute, they don't really have those kinds of units in their arsenal. But I think time will help, it has the potential to help those colors to make them good for Baited Hook. More units will always make cards like this better. So that's why I predict it could potentially become pretty good. I'm saying for this one, you should definitely have a playset of it already. It's really good at Darius. There's not much counter for it at the minute. It's also risky to play counter against this, because if you look at Darius, even if you don't pull Bait Hook, you're still going to have a good game. You've got the units to have a good game. You're just playing without the hook, which is a little bit of a downside, but you're still fine, right? So definitely get a playset. Definitely worth having 3 of these, and potentially if you have got the funds, maybe invest in a couple more, right? It's always good to have spares anyway. Number 3, we have got Leona, and I am not just talking about one of the Leonas, I'm talking about both Leonas, okay? Because I'm personally a big fan of Leona the Legend, and also I love her cards. I think they look amazing, and I think their abilities are amazing as well. But unfortunately, I think Leona has struggled in the pre-release meta purely because there's not enough support for stun, which is what she's based around completely. And I think stun is an ability which is just going to get more support over time. It's kind of guaranteed, right? And I think that would just help it a lot more. And I think these 2 champions are just going to get better and better and better, right? Yellow Leona is already used in a lot of different yellow decks, like Set, because she's just such a good attacker. I mean, she stuns when she attacks. It's amazing. And then she can even defend for quite a lot of might as well, right? So at the minute, looking at the prices in China, green Leona is 1 yuan, and yellow Leona is 0.3 yuan, which is 14 cents and 4 cents. So absolutely nothing, right? Definitely worth getting a playset of these. Definitely worth getting a couple more potentially if you have the funds for it. I do really think Leona will become good in the future. Hopefully I don't bite my words on this. Hopefully it doesn't come back to shoot me in the foot. But I really like Leona. I'm sure a lot of people like Leona as well. I've heard a lot of love towards her. So definitely worth picking up if you can. Now, number 2, I was very tempted to put this number 1. If I did have this at number 1 until just before I started filming this, and then I changed him to number 2, okay? Heimerdinger, right? This ability is just insane, and the only reason he is not good right now is because of lack of support, okay? Which is the case for most of these cards, right? Which makes sense. It's kind of what you expect with cards which will become good. However, Heimerdinger is a different exception, right? This ability, it can only get better over time. It only get better because it'll have more access to more cards with exhaust abilities. So the only question is, when will this become good? Not if this will become good. And I think it will become very, very good. Okay. Heimerdinger Legend could also boost the price of this card. Heimerdinger is already a very popular character because of Arcane and all of that stuff. So he will be very popular. His Legend has the potential to boost his price. And I think his Legend is one of the more likely legends to come out because of Arcane and the character's popularity, which they've already said is a big factor in how they decide what legends to release for this game. At the minute, he's worth 0.31, 4 cents, right? That is nothing for a card like this. Definitely worth investing in. Okay, this is the first card on this list which I'm telling you probably should buy extra copies of, because it is such a good card, and like I said, it can only get better. It cannot get worse. It's just not possible. Okay, so definitely worth investing in. If you're going to invest in any of them, get this one and what we have in number 1, because ladies and gentlemen, I was very tempted to put these joint first, but I didn't, purely because I think this ability slightly edges it. If you can guess, let me know. But number 1 is Karthus Eternal, okay? Karthus Eternal, very, very similar to Heimerdinger, right? They both cost 3 energy and have 1 power cost and have 3 might. Their abilities are kind of similar as well, in a way, if you want. But this one is Death Knell, right? Your Death Knell effects trigger an additional time. That is crazy. Now, the reason I put him over Heimerdinger is with Heimerdinger, he can only use 1 exhaust ability a turn, right? It doesn't like stack up, right? You can't use like 3 different cards as exhaust abilities and 1 exhaust Heimerdinger. That's just not how it works. But with Karthus, it affects all your Death Knell units on the board, right? All your Death Knell effects. If multiple units with Death Knell die, all those Death Knell effects are going to be doubled, right? That's just how it is. So that's why he's number 1. Again, similar with Heimerdinger, it's not a question of if it'll be good, it's a question of when it'll be good, because like Heimerdinger, there will be more cards that come into the game with Death Knell, which will combo with this, which will be amazing. So this could be a really broken card. You see in other TCGs, Hearthstone's a big one with Death Rattle, but there are lots of Death Knell kind of cards in other TCGs which do really well. It's like a staple of TCG games at this point, having some kind of Death Rattle, Death Knell ability. So this one is a keeper for sure. Again, he's a League of Legends champion, so if he does get a legend, that will probably boost his price as well, because that will probably bonus Karthus, benefit Karthus as well as that. And looking at the price, 0.31, 4 cents. Again, he's worth nothing, so you may as well just go and pick up a playset as well as extra copies. I know for myself, I'm going to pick up as many Karthus and Heimerdinger cards as I can, because I do predict they will be worth a lot more in the future. And guys, with that is my top 10 cards to invest in on release. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think I missed some really obvious ones. I think these are pretty safe for a top 10. Maybe some of the earlier ones are a little more risky, but let me know what you think. Let me know if I've had any misses on this list as well. Perhaps some of these will be stinkers. Hopefully not. Maybe we come back to this video in the future and see how my predictions were. But guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.